Well, hello. Welcome back to part 3 of the Suzuki revival. Today's task is to get the carburetors off, give them a good clean, check jets, check galleries, check everything, and get the bike back on the road. Hopefully, she might even fire up this time. Dive in with me and see what happens. Now, for the record, the bolts holding the grab handles on the back are actually T40s. Oh my goodness. We'll just loosen them off, but you'll see it's fairly plain sailing. This one's I've loosened up before already, so yeah. With the fairing now free, it hides one bolt here, another bolt on the other side, which secures the airbox. I had to drill out the bolt on this side. Bulldog and even WD-40 wouldn't shift it. The other side was not as easy as this one to get free. That seized, and no amount of lubricating WD-40 or even my favourite Bulldog BDX would shift it. But we've taken the opportunity of putting some of that Bulldog BDX. I'm not sponsored by them, but I'm just speaking from experience. It's good stuff. So every bolt I can see and get to on the cylinder head has been liberally dosed with that. I'll make a habit of doing that every so often because it'll make life easier for us all when the head does come off. The only issue I have now is removing the carburetors from the actual lump itself. I won't say it's like welded there, but it hasn't been moved probably since it came out of the factory. This end to the airbox came away fairly fine. This side's putting up a bit of a struggle. So probably against my better judgment, that's been liberally dosed all 4 cylinders coming into their respective carb. Have been liberally dosed with penetrating oil and the aforementioned product. I'm going to leave that overnight. There's no point struggling away with it at the moment. If we don't get any joy tomorrow, we'll try a different tack. But there again, that's some of the joys of reading workshop manuals and perhaps following the odd 1 or 2 YouTube creators. They tend to make things look a little bit more easier than they otherwise are. This one was fully expecting a struggle. It hasn't been too bad to date. So the only issue I've had is that one broken bolt. We'll see what tomorrow brings. The carbs are now free with a little bit of wriggling over 20 minutes, and you pull the carbs up whilst trying to get them back with that wriggling and a little bit of a judicious application of levering with a small piece of hammer, i.e. the wooden end. They slipped out lovely. The choke cable comes relatively easy off. The cable to the throttle is now off. It's just a question of undoing this fitting here, a nut, to remove the carburetors completely from the bike. With the cables exposed, I will take them off and make sure they're all lubricated and greased. There's the choke one down here, and there's 2 for the carb, 1 for return and 1 for operating the spindle, or whatever you want to call it. So we'll get them off, make sure the cables up. They look fine to me, but you can never tell inside obviously. But the carbs are now over here and off. Overall condition isn't too bad. There's a little bit of rust down here. Don't know whether the camera will pick that up. And when we took the carb off, the choke was jammed and the throttle could have been a bit more freer than it actually was. But that's to be expected, I suppose. There's your rusty bit down there. We're not going to split the carburetors. That really does open up a whole can of worms. We'll do it one at a time. And if we need to soak overnight, which I suspect this one may do, nuts and bolts to gain access, I'd rather do that than round the heads or strip the bloody things. Well, I did drain the bowls. There's a little drain plug on all four. What came out was rather greenish in colour and smelt very off. But I'm wondering whether the stuck choke was the issue all along as to why the thing wouldn't fire up. Plus the fuel, of course. So there's the actuator arm, which is bent out of 90 degrees. It's difficult to do this with just one hand, but this plunger here goes in and out with the operation of the choke, and you can see that here, full choke, no choke. It's the same for 4. This little plastic guide slips away from its security or its housing, so hopefully we'll be able to get this off. The thing looks bloody bent, so we'll bend that back into shape, especially where it affixes to the plungers. So we've done a liberal dosing of carb cleaner, checked all the jets, they seem to be fine. I'm not going to go into a complete breakdown. There's plenty of things on the tube by the wire which will show you how to do that, but I'm not that anal. We've had a blow down the main jets and cleaned them out. They're absolutely fine. I'll leave this to evaporate, well, the cleaner to evaporate for a little bit longer, and give it a final wipe down and put it all back together again. I'm tempted, but I don't think I shall, but I'm tempted to put the carburetor back on and see if the thing will fire up or not. But of course in doing that it means taking the carb off again to get the head on. Again, no ETA on that. Background ambience is the bin men who've just arrived for their weekly recycling bit. But I think so far so good. A very good morning's work here, I think, and we are getting there. So we'll leave the cleaner to evaporate away a little bit. We are well ventilated here. That's what the thing says on the tin, quite rightly so. It does smell rather potent. The one thing I'm rather annoyed about is in the act of cleaning, one of these little rubber seatings just flew off from here, and if only they made them in a fluorescent colour rather than black, it would be much easier to find. Back after lunch and a nice cup of coffee, we're in the process of putting things back together again. I'm fairly pleased with the results. I didn't film the cleaning out bits because that would be rather too boring content, but everything looks nice and clean. Just got to do a little bit more drying up of the cleaner. I thought of this the other day actually, because I've been away for a few days up to London and there's work commitments as well. The London trip was to see friends I hadn't seen for about 7 years. Friends, well, more like brothers to me, who've known each other for around 40, but I had the habit of keeping all the tax discs Just while tidying up to finish the day, because I do have other commitments, especially work later on this evening. August 2000, road tax, £60 for a year. These are all kept together in the tax disc holder. It's just a shame that I never retained the first one from delivery, 1998. But this one will do for now.